Boy, it is so nice to have all these amenities and everything. Tire machine, all that stuff sitting here ready to go, except that line poked a hole in it last night. Normally we isolate the air, and we didn't do it last night, and it ran and it burnt our freaking Ingersoll up. Burnt something up on it. God dang it. This little blue one that we got right here is not big enough to run the honer and to do all our machine shop stuff. So, you know, we got connecting rod issues. Wait till you guys see. I got an idea. But without this air compressor, we don't have enough air to run our machine shop. You know, I don't know about you, but that looks like a rod honing machine if I'd ever seen one. Right there, I'll run it off of here. I'll have to adjust it. But that is a counter bore cutter to cut the seed out. Right there. You take the rod off. This is an old rod. Luckily, I had a surfaced head. And right there is for counter bore cutting in a seat to pound a new seat in. So I can adjust this. I want to try to make this cylinder head, which I think this head is trash. Is it red? Damn, I don't see any red, so it's probably a good head. Maybe we shouldn't use this one. I'll probably put a new guide in it. Go ahead and drill out a new guide. That way I can level the machine. This little thing right here is a computer level, basically. It will tell me when this is level, front to back and right to left. So that's about as straight as we're gonna be able to get. You know, set the rod on a surface cylinder head. It's square, counter bore, and that will be straight right there. That'll be a straight cut. I'll adjust this so that we can take about 5 or 6 thousandths out with the hone, but I'll cut most of it and get a good straight line with the guide and seat, and then go to the honer. And so that's my project for the day, or for maybe not today. That's my project for life. You know, it's gonna take the rest of my eternity to do, probably, who knows. Got to figure out how we're gonna hold it, because I also would like to be able to manipulate where it's cut at. I'd like to move it. Protrusion, we have piston protrusion issues. We might have the ability to not have to cut the tops of pistons anymore, and we can just do a bushing, and we can move it to adjust protrusion on the rod. So I need a nut here and a nut here, which we might do it. Maybe I'll do it with the cap off, and we'll mount it to something here. We'll thread it on, you know, from a set spot here. Maybe. You see an R&D here. But actually right now I'm gonna put this valve on that, because when I turn the air on it leaks. So yeah, I can't even run this yet. I gotta fix the freaking machine. I've got this big freaking cutter. It's a little dirty. Got the holder in it and the cutter. And then in here, I'd like to have a square one, but let's see how well this one goes in there. See what it does. Crap, it won't thread through the freaking cutter. I don't know if it'll go through there. Let's try RT212. Got another one here. Let's see if that one fits. I'll just steal it from my intake cutter. Hopefully it fits on there. All right, Rottler sent me this. They had a kind of a recall on the computer screen, and they sent me it. They gave me these. I have the other plate, but there's a whole crap load of connectors in there, and they sent me the screen, and I didn't get the plate yet, and I needed the machine put up, so I put it up. There's like crap load, 40 wires in there that need to be all hooked up. So I never did it. I have the backer somewhere here. They did send me a new frame for it to do it, but the screen on the new, we've been kind of just dealing with it, and Julie got it. Oh, hey. Let's shut it off. Yeah, maybe we ought to shut it off to do it. But that plastic has been on there for a long time, years. So Julie has, let's hope you can touch through it.
You're supposed to be able to. It's for like an iPad.
That'll be awesome. Stick that. Look how clean that is. Shining. Okay, don't put it wrong.
Uh-huh.
Wait, not right there.
What?
Just kidding. Do it. Do it. Okay.
Not a,
Wait, why'd you push on the outside?
not
Look, it's still got air right there.
I don't know if I can touch the screen. It's not off.
Sure you can. You know what? It really don't matter. That'll keep stuff out of it.
You want me to run a credit card over it?
Oh, it works.
Nope, there's too big of a bottle there.
Okay. The buttons kind of work.
Can you shut it off and I'll try and...
Yeah. Hang on. Look how close that looks. What are the odds that a feller could do some kind of drilling and adjusting of something like that? I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm trying to figure out, I don't know what I'm doing actually. I'd like to cut a perfectly straight hole, and this machine, you know, this machine can cut about the best hole of anything that I own. So why not use it? It's so close to the intake too. So I'm probably going to have to go ahead and on one of them, not this one. This, I might someday in the world use this cylinder head, so I'm not going to do this one. But I'm gonna go get one that's got a cracked fuel and coolant, injector bore crack. And we'll do one of them, that way I don't care about it. I'm gonna go ahead and surface it. That's a drag. I kind of don't really, I guess it ain't that big of a deal. But we'll surface it, that way I got a nice surface, and then hope that I can level off of these and get a true enough cut, maybe with some dowels made or something to fit this, to locate these. Because I need to locate this one, and I haven't quite figured out how I'm gonna locate it yet. Maybe I can get a 375, like a cam tool kind of. But then I'm very, very locked in, as long as where these guides are. These guides better be blueprinted just right, because I'll tell you what, 3 or 4 thousandths off to one side matters here. Hell, 2 thousandths. One, you can pretty much, who cares about one? It can be either way. But when you get to 2 and 3 and 4 thousandths, it's like you're way off in left field. It's just ridiculous how straight, how close that looks. Isn't it? The other thought I had was actually using a crankshaft journal. We could weld a crankshaft journal on here. Well, I couldn't really weld it though. I mean, maybe if, because I'd want the rod to sit flush on the cylinder head. So maybe if we cut a notch out of it or something, or I put half of it, maybe half a rod journal, somehow put it on an adjustment so that I can move it, because I'd like to be able to adjust this. What I probably should do is put center lines on it and write on the cylinder head, kind of make a, I'm only using a cylinder head because I have a crap load, like stacks of them this tall, and this machine is like made to clamp a cylinder head. It holds it very well. So this enabled me to have a great drill press, a great deck surface. Now I just have to figure out the locate.
Big enough to accept the bushing?
I can adjust. I just had the light bulb came on.
An epiphany.
And it just freaking happened that, okay, so I have this bushing, right? I can press the bushing in and not sand it off, right? Maybe I could have enough of a recession, which honestly, I could drill a hole anywhere in this cylinder head. I could drill a hole anywhere and install a guide. And then that would let me put a pilot in. That way, what I'm worried about is this, because it's not as big. Maybe I ought to use
the whole seat out.
Maybe I ought to use an exhaust so that I can hog a bunch of the material out and it's a clean surface, right? And then that will allow me to center and locate where the bushing goes. So I probably should come over here and go ahead and do the exhaust so it's smaller, and I'll send an intake cutter in it. Well, first thing I'll do is I'll send this cutter in it. I'll send this guy down in it, and that guy will go down without the bushing on and hog away at the inside of here, in there. Just hog away at it, cut a bunch of it out. Then I can change to this cutter and adjust it out to the OD. Well, actually to the ID of the connecting rod is what I'll do. I'll set it to the ID of the connecting rod. And then we will cut this down into the cylinder head. Cut it down in there. Hog that out of there and make my own hole all the way around to accept the bushing. But it's not really going to accept it because the bushing does not stick past. When I press it in, this is the factory. This is unsanded. So is that. It's unsanded. But, okay, so where do we go from there then? Because I really need it to go down in and locate inside. That way it is centered. Okay, so I can get the bore there, but the bushing's not long enough. Can I incorporate a wrist pin into it, maybe? I mean, because the wrist pin, no, because it'll be the size of the inside of it. And the bushing's not honed, so the wrist pin doesn't do anything yet. Okay, I just spent a good portion of the day redoing that twice because the regulator was broke, so I got all the air lines finally hooked back up. Now we can sit back down here, and I think I want to bore the bushing. When we put it up there, I want a full bushing. And then maybe we can locate it with a stone or with a cone. Maybe I can put a cone on it to locate the bushing in the center of that pilot right there. And then lock the head down or lock the connecting rod down on there and not use that second pilot, just use the first one, maybe. Ah, there you go. Clean cylinder head. It was disgusting inside the ports. Oh, it's getting there. I'm gonna be able to touch it when all the soot gone. This is now going to be a fixture that I'm gonna attach to.
Anthony's in the process of losing his voice. I guess he's been talking to you guys too much. So let me see. He'll nod his head yes or no if I'm doing this wrong, or maybe he'll talk.
I do have it, but it's...
So this is gonna be our rod fixturing head. So we can use the guide and seat machine to cut the rod bushings.
And this is how we'll clean the heads of...
This head is junk, and we're making it clean. So imagine how we do a customer's truck if it's junk. So we're gonna clean this out real good. Unfortunately, we just put a fresh charge in that and in that. The ultrasonic's pretty nasty, but I told Anthony if he gets this relatively clean, we can throw it in a little spray cabinet so we can eat out of it. Let's go see how it's looking. If you'll quit spraying. It's getting water all over. Looking pretty good. We might just tempt fate with that little spray cabinet.
Turn the flash on, look way down there.
Okay, let me do that.
Look all the way in there.
Okay, let's look all the way.
Just explain it, because I can't see it now.
It's getting foggy.
Yeah, blow it out a little bit.
It's looking clean. Does it look clean? It looks foggy.
Is
it looks foggy.
Here.
That one's still pretty dirty.
Dang, they're all dirty.
Dang.
We'll let them soak all night.
Yep, let them soak.
And then
Well,
I mean, we normally kill our brushes.
yeah.
I normally would use brushes to speed it up, and it kills it. Look, that one's...
I've cleaned it the best I could with this stuff.
We would almost kill one per job.
Yeah.
And that thing right there does a lot of work.
This is not the normal stuff we use. It's definitely value performance for what it is.
That's pretty much. So now I'll put it in. Well, I don't care about the coolant. I just want to be able to put my hands in there to grab it and it come out clean. And I can't do that. I want to be able to grab it and be clean. So when we can do that way, if I want to move it around,
drop it on our horse
that.
stall mat.
Yeah. And I have to put an 8mm guide in this one of these valves upside down, and we're gonna press a 7.3 guide in a 6-liter head.
Exciting.
And we're gonna put one 7.3 valve in a 6-liter. This stuff right here.
Remember our bulletproof glass, guys?
The bulletproof glass. We've got a bunch of bolts for our pressure test blocks for these. So I can just drill 2 holes in here and put them through and put a bolt there through the head bolt holes. I have those bolts in there and it'll just be very fast. And then I can put them over here through these bolt holes too, through the head bolt holes on that cylinder. Cut this piece and then cut this piece and then tighten them down once it's located on it. And that thing, I would hope it wouldn't move, that would hold it with, I mean, they're freaking fat bolts. Squeeze that thing down, hold it down, maybe, and then we can engineer from there. Because ideally what I want to be able to do is to pop this out and locate off of the stud 375 pilot, but I want to be able to adjust protrusion for it. So the end on that cylinder head would have adjustments, but then we have to measure it too, so we'd have to have an indicator on it too. We're basically making our own rod boring fixture. And at $5,000, I didn't make no money today, but I made the most money in a long time because we didn't buy a rod hone machine. But we also haven't figured out how to do it yet. Where'd that 7.3 valve go? Okay, this valve is huge. 7.3 valve, that's what I'm talking about when I say an 8mm guide. I'm gonna put this valve over here and I'm gonna cut a pretty freaking extreme angle on it. Like, I'm gonna totally just, what am I gonna do? Let's see. When I say extreme, like I need to kick this over and I need to go like way over here. About, can I go home? How far can I go before I run into crap? That's gonna be about,
Not big to touch.
okay, so if I cut it on that angle right there. Valve straight. Okay, give me just a second. Let's look at this. Take this off. I can cut a pretty steep angle. Okay. This is a 6-liter intake valve, and we got a 7.3 valve. I think they're both the same. Now, the cone that I can make out of that. Let me go over here and show you this, and this. Come on over here. Let's go. Let me do this. Okay, so let's say I press a guide in here upside down, right? If I flip it upside down, then I've got more of the shank of the guide sticking out the top. And this almost perfectly locates, if that guide was strong. Let me go to this one actually, so I got more room.
Oh, table.
Okay, that very well, look at me pulling on it here. That locates that thing in the middle. Now, how true do we trust that guide and seat machine right there can cut a straight hole? Well, we do guides all the time and seats. That's actually arguably a better machine to cut the bushings, to bore the bushings, than the actual rod boring machine. That thing can cut a very nice hole. So all I have to do is tell it where to cut. So my first thought was this. Look how that like, that locates it, okay? So that's pretty freaking good. Now, if we make a sharper angle, this is a 7.3 valve. 7.3s are 8mm stems. This is a bigger stem. So in order to use this one, I gotta take this guide out and I'll put a 7.3 or 12 valve Cummins. I'll put an 8mm guide in our tooling for the 6-liter. And then this I will cut. That's why we just showed that, the honer. Now look, if I take that angle so that it's a very steep angle and we actually make the valve smaller, I would just cut the whole valve in on like a 60-degree angle, cut it in and make it smaller until it locates very nicely around that bushing. Now I haven't sanded the bushing yet. The bushing is still square. Look how I pressed it through. Look, oh man, it galled so bad. I'm just kidding. It looks beautiful. I mean, we got a little bit like right there trying to happen. I might have to zoom in. So if we can cut a hole in a cylinder head, then surely we can use that machine. Because the other ones, they're $5,000. I found a couple for $5,000, a couple for 11. Seems like they're all in India. So we've already got a machine right there that cuts a hole. And I think that setup, we're gonna use that head, make a fixture, trash the head. This is going to be for rod bushing boring. So now go watch another video.